All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode. I have on today Dr. Aumatma with us onto the show, and really excited to get into this conversation with you today. We're talking all things hormones, little fertility, and of course, sexual health. So, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Rachel. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. Where is it that you are in the world today?
I am located in Houston, Texas.
Oh, Houston. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I frequent Texas. The other side, I'm usually in over in Austin. But yeah, love have family in Houston. We love Texas.
Oh, great. Well, we'll have to meet in
Yeah,
person.
I would love that. That would be so cool. Perfect. So yeah, you've been into this work, right, of hormones and sexual health and what just like women's work for quite some time. I'd love to just hear a little bit about you and your journey in the naturopathic endocrinology and then the fertility work that you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been a naturopathic doctor for 20 years. I got into it because I really believed in this mind, body, spirit. I believe that we're integrated as a human. So why shouldn't our medicine be? So it like drew me long before I knew what naturopathic medicine was. And uh went to naturopathic medical school, loved it, loved all the things. And I graduated, was practicing general women's health for about 4 years. And at that time was married to this man who wanted to start talking about having children.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he would mention children, babies, trying to conceive, my uterus would literally start screaming inside of me. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like, no, help me. And I was like, what is happening? So that was really the start of my fertility journey, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
was trying to figure out, did I not want to have children? Want, did I just marry the wrong person? Like, what's
Mm-hmm.
happening?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I came out of that reflection period with just a very crystal clear realization that I was not meant to have children with him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And most people think about those things beforehand, but I had not. It did not occur to me till we started talking about it that maybe that wasn't the path.
Mm-hmm.
And but I did get clear that I would maybe want to have a child someday. And just doing rough math. I was in my early 30s at the time. So rough
Mm-hmm.
math told me I might be in my 40s before I meet someone who wants
Yeah.
to have a baby with me. So I really took it upon myself to kind of figure out like what can I do for my fertility. And at the time egg freezing had become really popular,
Mm-hmm.
or it just was like starting to become popular. So I was like, well, maybe should I freeze my eggs? And at the time, it was like a 1% success rate of frozen eggs turning into live babies.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, that's a very expensive treatment for a 1% chance that I
Mm-hmm.
may have a child one day. What else could I do? And I came out of that research period with like, oh my gosh, there's so much I can be doing
Mm-hmm.
for my fertility. So I went into it as like, I want to support and preserve my own fertility. Ended up at a acupuncture clinic by chance, totally unplanned.
Mm-hmm.
This acupuncturist that I knew wanted me to like come help him out at his clinic because his naturopathic doctor had quit unexpectedly. And he was like, I need you like tomorrow. Can you start here?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, sure, yeah, I'm happy to help. And it ended up being that acupuncture clinic, the lead acupuncturist was a fertility specialist. So
Wow.
she was like, "Oh, I've heard you're researching this stuff. Maybe you can like help with some of my patients that I've been struggling with." And I was like, "Sure, yeah, no problem." And I walk in the next morning with like 500 folders on my desk of people that
Wow.
had gotten pregnant with her. And she was like, maybe you could just like look through these and see who you can help. And
Yeah. Wow.
I was like, okay, this is going to be a crash course in applying all of my research and seeing what sticks and what works and what doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
That really like got me very within a year, 90% of them were pregnant.
Wow.
And these were people that were struggling for more than 3 years on average because they had been
Wow.
working with this acupuncturist for a very long time.
Hmm.
So it really landed on me that year that, oh my gosh, like we're onto something. Like there's something here with naturopathic medicine, with how I'm approaching this work that
Hmm.
really is resonating and is making a difference.
Hmm.
So how can I do more of this? So I fell in love within a year. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, I think I found my calling. Like
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
can't imagine
giving
a
the
better.
gift of literal life, right? Like it doesn't get
Yeah.
much better than that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah. And what I'm hearing really from your story too is like to let people know that there are options
Mhm.
available to them. There are things that you could be doing now that can help to support fertility, whether it's now or down the road.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's partly why I became so passionate about that. Like not a lot of people seek out support
Hmm.
for planning and preconception and like,
Yeah.
hey, I want to have a baby. I just want to make sure that I'm doing all the right things. Like people don't usually reach out for those things, but I
Mhm.
really think that if they knew what they could be feeling in their bodies, they would reach out, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's like so many women, I think what is the statistic on that? It's like 1 in 2 women experience regular menstrual pain, PMS,
Hmm.
some kind of symptoms with their cycles that is normalized, even though it shouldn't be, right? Like they're often told, like, oh, this is just part of being a woman.
Hmm.
And that was so much of my early childhood as well, was just like, oh, you're in pain, get up and get over it.
Hmm. Hmm.
uh, and like get suck it up because this is what life is going to be like.
Yeah.
And if I had known then what I know now, I'd be like, oh my God, like, why are we telling people this? It's not
Hmm.
normal.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really wild. And then you just think of the fairy tale that most of us are told as young girls, right? Like you grow up, you meet a man, you get married, you have kids. Like there is no fertility conversation as part of that plan, right? So I think for so many of us, we just go through life just thinking like, okay, when I'm ready, it'll happen so naturally. And I think more and more, it's definitely as the older I get and more people in my inner world like having babies and facing fertility issues, it's like it almost feels like it's like it the same statistic like 1 in 2 like one out of if I have me plus two of my friends in the room one of us is gonna be having fertility issues which is just yeah it's wild to think about that and I'm not sure if that's accurate of the statistic of how many people face infertility issues but also then this is right there's a category of women versus men because we know that infertility can happen on both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So the statistic right now is like 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 women
Wow. Okay.
between 18 and 35. So here,
Mhm,
like what's
mhm,
really interesting is that that statistic doesn't actually include the population of women that is waiting to have children. And
mhm,
I'm assuming you're like me, like high achieving women tend to wait till later in life to start their families. And
mhm,
that's not, it shouldn't be like, uh, I feel like we should be accounted for in that statistic,
mhm,
you know?
mhm.
Uh,
Absolutely.
but so many women in their even in their early 30s will go to their OB or their reproductive endocrinologist, and often they're told, "Oh, you waited for too long."
Mhm,
And like you should have, you know, it's kind of like the patriarchy. It's like, "Oh, you should have thought about having children before prioritizing your career or whatever." And it just breaks my heart for all the
mhm.
stories that I hear of women that go through that experience
Yeah.
when it's not true. Like, we
Mhm,
don't need to, so much of the fertility world is based on this idea that our fertility drops off of a cliff at
mhm,
35.
mhm,
Or even now the language is changing. It's like, it's a slow decline. Well, yes, let's talk about how slow that decline really
mhm,
is.
mhm. Yeah.
And statistically, it's the age group of 25 to 29. There's several of these studies that they've done. 25 to 29 versus 35 to 39. There was a 3% decline in between those two age groups.
Wow. Okay.
So it's not that much.
Hmm.
It's not that much of a decline. Yet we're telling women like, "Oh, sorry, screw you. Like you should have come in sooner."
Hmm.
And I think it really behooves us as women to be educated and to like share it within our circles to
Hmm.
say,
Hmm.
"Hey, this doesn't have to be your reality. Just because you're 36 doesn't mean you need to like march into the IVF clinic hoping that they're going to help you."
Yeah, there's not like this clock in the body that it's like, ah, time is up, right? Like alarm goes off.
There.
And that's what I've heard from many fertility specialists that have been on the show. It's like it is this gradual thing that takes place over a pretty extended period of time. I'm
Right.
curious, like you've been in this work for, nearly 20 years. Like what do you wish women understood more when it comes to their hormones specifically?
Yeah, I think one is that we assume that when we're given birth control or contraception,
Hmm.
like 50% of the time, it's not actually for contraceptive use, it's
Hmm.
for controlling our hormones.
Hmm.
And it's considered to be the fix all for hormonal dysregulation, PCOS, endometriosis, which it doesn't actually address or fix any of those things.
Hmm.
So when we are given a treatment that doesn't actually address what it is that's happening, yet our symptoms are gone,
Yeah.
right? Like you have 40-day menstrual cycles and then all of a sudden you're down to 28 and it's everything is normal and you're like, "Oh, it must be fixed. It must be
Hmm.
perfect." And some women actually have forgotten that they have some of these underlying conditions and like don't realize that when they get off of the contraception for conception reasons,
Hmm.
they all of their hormonal dysregulation is going to come back.
Hmm.
It's not gone away. It's
Hmm.
just there's a nice band-aid over it. And as soon as you peel that band-aid off, it's like a festering wound that hasn't been taken care of.
Hmm.
So yeah, I wish more women realized that getting on birth control at young ages is potentially more harmful than it is beneficial, especially if it's not for the purpose of contraception. So
Yeah, if it's like, oh, I have a heavy period, birth control. Oh, I'm having acne. That was my original
yeah,
reason for, yes, I was also planning to have sex, but originally was because I was having acne. And yeah, it's wild. And we're so young. So right, obviously, like most of my listeners are adults and women that have kids, but really thinking of it because at that point, it a lot of times is the parents that are making the decisions. Like my mom is who took me to the clinic, right, to Planned Parenthood to get on birth control. And so it's just like, yeah, I'm glad that we're having this conversation to educate because now we can pass this down to our little ones that are in our lives, whether that's our own kids or, nieces or sisters or whoever it is.
yeah, absolutely. So I think that that is a really good one. Another interesting one that I'm curious if you've come across is the use of pads and tampons,
Mhm.
especially the non-organic kind, but is anything that says it's organic, is it really organic? So like pads and tampons, we have internally done just like, I wouldn't call it research, but we tell everyone like, hey, if you're using a pad or a tampon, let's switch you to a more reusable product that is not going to harm your body.
Mhm.
So you
Mhm.
can choose a disc, you can choose a menstrual cup, you can choose
Mhm.
cloth, organic cloth tampons, sorry, organic cloth pads.
Mhm.
Uh, any of those are fine. Choose what you like, right?
Mhm.
And a lot of women have come back from that and said, "Oh my gosh, I like all of the menstrual pain that I had is gone or
Mhm.
it's reduced significantly within a month of making that shift."
Mhm.
And
Interesting.
they're like, "What's happening? Why is it doing that?" And it's like, well, something that we didn't know even 5 years ago, I would say it was not super prevalent, is all of the research in the vaginal microbiome and how the cotton that they use when it's non-organic is sprayed with glyphosate. And
Mhm.
glyphosate, we know from research in gut health, actually essentially like wipes out the good microbiome of the gut.
Mm-hmm.
Now, similar to the gut, the vagina has its own microbiome. It's not
Mm-hmm.
the same, but its own microbiome that also goes away and gets depleted. And there are more inflammatory microbes that can take the good microbes' place
Mm-hmm.
that are creating a scenario where you feel like you're having menstrual pain, cramps, and it's not actually your hormones or your cycle at all. It's
Mm-hmm.
from the products that you're using.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
that is something that I think I wish someone had told me sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have heard that amongst clients, and I do try to have that conversation with like have people just really think through like what are the products that they're using for that, and yeah, often talk about menstrual cups and discs and things like that. But more so, I think it's just been more of like a generalization of like what's on the market isn't the best products for us, and not necessarily getting into what you just did, like the nitty-gritty of it. Which yeah, thank you for that. I think that's really helpful for people to know and to hear. Just again, I think it's just like same with this push right now for aluminum-free deodorant, right? It's like we're just getting more knowledgeable about what it is that we're putting into our bodies and how that's affecting our bodies.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
I think we're just waking up to like how many toxins are actually in
Mhm.
our environment.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I think that would probably be my third little thing to drop in is how much toxins are going to affect our hormones.
Mhm.
So plastics are certainly a big, big component of that. And then the other one is phthalates.
Mhm.
So all the stuff that is fragranced or just smells good
Mhm.
and is being passed off even as natural is not necessarily natural. And those are having a significant effect on male and female hormones. So that's another big one that I would really consider shifting out if you are in this boat of like, I would like to preserve my fertility. I want to do what I can. I want to
Mhm.
address my hormones now. I'd really think about doing that sooner
Mhm.
rather than later.
Yeah. Even if you're not looking to get pregnant anytime soon, I would maybe like recommend this because I
Yeah.
think I would be curious. You know, I have a lot of practitioners working in perimenopause and menopause, and I'd be curious like how all of these things apply also to that phase of life, right? Because it's hormone related, right? And health debt related. So
Like, absolutely. I think all of the things that we do in the fertility phase are really good to continue doing for the rest of your life. There,
hmm
and we tell our clients that all the time. Like,
hmm
don't drop off on this. Like, just
yeah,
because you're pregnant doesn't mean you're done.
yeah,
This is the
yeah.
beginning of your journey, and you are impacting the next generation. So you continue not using these products in your home. Guess what? Now your child is healthier because
hmm
they're not growing up surrounded by air fresheners and plugins and all the things
hmm
that I feel like we were potentially exposed to at a
hmm
very young age.
hmm I had another fertility specialist come on the show and her like main message was act pregnant now if you want to get pregnant later. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense, right? Like if we try to be our best and our healthiest when we're in pregnancy and just like taking such care of our bodies when we're housing and birthing another human. And so it's like why, yeah, why wouldn't we continue that on to like how like work more towards optimal health and best health practices?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's
Yeah.
it's good to continue doing that. And I think that what I think a lot of women are okay doing it for their baby,
hmm
but
hmm
when it comes to ourselves, we put ourselves on
hmm
the back burner, right? So
hmm
it's acting as if you're pregnant just gives you that extra motivation of like, oh, I'm doing this for my baby.
Yeah.
But really, like, we could be doing this for ourselves just
Yeah.
because.
Let me not get on my soapbox about that. Again, I realize I have bias here because I'm not a parent myself, but one of the things in my practice that I'm continuously preaching to, I primarily work with women, or even men. I think same message, right? Like we have to take care of ourselves first, and how we see how our kids see us treating ourselves is makes such an impact on them, right? Every person that I've had come through my therapy practice or my coaching practice, when we talk about what was your mom like? What was your dad like? What was life like growing up as little you, right? Like we are continuously picking up these messages, and these messages are translating at our young age into beliefs that we carry with us into adulthood. And so if you have to do a Jedi mind trick with yourself in some way, it's like taking care of yourself is also a gift towards taking care of your little one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And they're learning so much. Like I have an 8-year-old now,
Mm-hmm.
and he learned very early that I meditate literally every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And lately, as of like maybe 6 months ago, I've never like forced it on
Mm-hmm.
him, never like talked to him about it. He's like, Mom, can we meditate? And
Oh.
this is like evening time, right before bed. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
can we meditate? I'm like, sure. Yeah, let's do
That's so
that.
sweet. Yeah. They pick up on things. Yeah. So you run a framework called Hormonal Leadership. I'd love to hear a little bit about more of that, like getting more into this like high achievement burnout, because I think that's many of my listeners on the show. So I think that would be relevant to talk through.
Yeah, yeah. So, what I realized over the years of working with men and women, because all of our clients are couples, um, so what I've noticed is, oh, men like get directions, they do it, we see improvements,
Hmm.
right? For women, it's way more complex.
Hmm.
And it always came back to hormones for me. And I was like, oh, men have very different hormonal rhythms. We have very different hormonal rhythms. And what I have been coming to is the core of the difference between the two is a 24-hour clock versus a 28-day clock. And what that means in the context of leadership is that men kind of go and produce at the same pace in the same way
Hmm.
almost every day,
Hmm.
right? And women are not men. We're not tiny little men. And
Hmm.
we have differences in our hormones in every part of our cycle. So if we acknowledge A, that we have that difference, and then B, really apply the wisdom of the hormones into the way that we either lead our lives, our teams, our businesses, whatever,
Hmm.
then we create freedom from burnout because there's the rhythm within that 28-day clock automatically builds in rest. It builds in using our intuition. It builds in these pieces that I think are often overridden when we try to fit into this 24-hour clock
Hmm.
that just doesn't work the same way in our bodies.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, because we know like that high achievement, that stress impacts our hormones, our fertility, our sexuality, all of those things. And so I think it's, yeah, it's like bringing in more compassion and grace for ourselves as women on that model that you just met. It's like we're not meant to live in the man's world, right? We're not meant to live in the 24-hour clock. It's so vastly different for us. And yeah, I've had many conversations with people on the show talking about like cycle tracking and really encouraging people also to kind of get away from tracking apps because the apps are also biased. The apps is giving you a general representation of what might be happening here, and it's so important that we get really in tune with our actual bodies. Like, yeah, I might be in ovulation, but maybe I'm experiencing moodiness in ovulation. I'm not experiencing higher sex drive in ovulation like I should be, right? I'm using my air quotes for those that are not watching. Or in luteal, maybe I actually have more sexual energy where it's like this app is telling me that everything is declining, right? It's like that's your body is unique to you, and that's what's important is that we're treating you, you're supporting you, not what the app is telling you you should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like because of the fertility work, we work so closely on how do we optimize that rhythm for each and every person. And
Hmm.
of course, there's still going to be variation. Everyone's not going to be the same. But there's certain checkpoints within the cycle that are always going to be the same
Hmm.
for our ladies who are optimized
Hmm.
before they conceive. So I know that there is this. like it's so important to learn our bodies, to learn our rhythms,
Hmm.
and then to not allow for kind of a glaze over of the things that don't feel right,
Hmm.
right? There is such a thing as optimal, and there is a thing of like, oh, if you're having these particular symptoms in this part of your cycle, it
Hmm.
may actually be indicating that there's a hormonal dysregulation
Hmm.
that could be addressed.
Hmm.
And when we address that dysregulation, you a feel better in your body. You're not no longer like overriding what your body is telling you. You're
Hmm.
trying to address it head on. And then B, that like trickles into how you show up at work, how you show up with the people around you, and you're more in rhythm, in sync with your hormones in a way that I really truly believe prevents the burnout.
Yeah.
And I had I've had two different cycles of burnout in my life. One just before I started the fertility work, and the
Hmm.
second like 10 years ago
Hmm.
when I've been doing the fertility work. And the second burnout was almost burnout. And I caught myself very quickly
Hmm.
because I was like, oh, I totally like what I have been living with this like hormonal pattern
Hmm.
for so long. And like I understand and know my rhythms very, very well.
Hmm.
Yet there I get into cycles where I'm like, oh, I'm busy, I'm busy, I'm busy. Too much on my checklist, to-do list is too long.
Hmm.
Uh, and really it's, oh, I've been adding but not taking away the things that are no longer in alignment.
Mm.
And every single time now I'm like, oh, I'm feeling super exhausted. What do I need to shift that this is telling me I need to shift because my hormones are responding to what's happening in my life and in my environment.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think it really that's kind of the gist of what I'm working on and writing a book about is
Yeah.
this idea that we could be like I know that we're ignoring 50% of the population in the work world, and there are just like multi-passionate women that want to do and have so much to contribute, and they get burnt out
Hmm.
because the world is not set up for us.
Yeah.
So how do we shift that, and
Hmm.
how do we start to show up differently so that
Hmm.
it can work for our bodies?
Hmm. I'd love to get into a little bit of the how around this because, yeah, it's like aligning the ambition with biology and like just getting a little bit more clear on what that actually looks like in real life. Could you give maybe some even, patient examples of, and what I'm getting at the how is like, what are these actual things that women are changing or doing that is really creating the difference? Like, is it diet? Is it sleep? Is it exercise? Like, yeah, what are the factors that they're changing?
Yeah. So you mentioned cycle syncing. So I'm assuming
Hmm.
that your audience probably has a baseline understanding of cycle syncing. Your
Hmm.
menstrual cycle is what I call winter. Everything
Hmm.
is like withered away. It's the time to rest.
So
It's the
sad.
time to no, like it's actually my favorite
Well,
season.
just the withered away. I just imagine like all of my insides. It's like snowing and dark and glue. I live in Michigan, so I'm very well acquainted with what winter looks like. But it's just yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
sorry, just giggling over that.
Well, and the positive would be like, oh, you sit and like it's snowing outside, there's nowhere to go, you're snowed in, you're like, let's sit by the fireplace and read a book,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Like there's not a ton for me to do.
Yeah.
That's the kind of energy of the menstrual phase.
Hmm.
And then we have the opposite, which is the ovulatory phase. And that's the period of time where we're at peak hormones on all levels. So when we're talking about the menstrual phase, our hormones are at the baseline, almost negligible. And then at ovulation, they're all at peak.
Hmm.
So the difference or ovulation phase is summer. It's where everything is blooming. It's like all all at full
Mm-hmm.
heightened awareness. And in that phase, we are generally magnetic because our hormones are pumping through us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really easy to connect. It's easy to make sales.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to be out in the world in an external way. And almost always, I feel like that's the period of my cycle where I could get away with sleeping less and doing more. And
Mm-hmm.
also the phase where
Mm-hmm.
there's like 4 or 5 days during that phase where I'm just like, let's knock off everything on my to-do list. It's like check, 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 check. And
Mm-hmm.
often my team is like, oh my God, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
what's happening?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because I can like whip through so much stuff. And they're like, oh my God, we've been waiting for this for a few weeks. And I'm like, yep, got it all done.
Makes sense.
Here
Yeah.
it is. How do you want
Yeah.
it? So that, and then the luteal phase, which follows the ovulatory phase, is fall. And that's where you are generally in nature harvesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like taking all of the fruits of your labor over spring and summer and putting it aside and storing it for winter.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think fall is really the time where most women don't spend enough energy and time. It
Mm-hmm.
is where we need to harvest what we planted.
Mm-hmm.
So if we went to a bunch of networking events or spoke at a big event or whatever, and you made all these connections,
Mm-hmm.
the harvest phase would be like, okay, I got to follow up with all these people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I got to like build those relationships. I, in my business, that means I want to spend that time period looking at my dashboard of all the KPIs and all the
Mm-hmm.
things that I need to run an efficient, viable business
Mm-hmm.
that often gets pushed to the wayside because, oh my gosh, I still have so much work to do,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that phase is really the time to reflect and figure out what worked, what didn't work, what worked, what didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to, when I feel like, okay, I'm going crazy, I have too much on my plate, that's really the phase of my cycle where I'll sit down and say, okay, something's not working. What is it? Like,
Mm-hmm.
where do I feel like my energy is lacking or I'm not really super interested or into it? Let's take those things away. Those are
Mm-hmm.
not necessary anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like being okay with saying no and like reaching out to somebody and being like, "Hey, I committed to this, but it's not actually in alignment for me. I'm sorry."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I found that when we do it in specific phases, and certainly like you could pay attention to this all the time in your life, but
Mm-hmm.
it is the phases really help put it into context for me of like, oh, I need to pay attention to this right now.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
this is the perfect time in my season to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm doing it on a regular basis, I it's not accumulating to the point where it becomes present in my life as PMS most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
PMS is the early warning sign.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, if that continues for months and months, will lead to burnout. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the kind of like the high level perspective on what I've been coaching women with
Mm-hmm.
because I work with a lot of like C-suite executives that are trying to get pregnant and have babies. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
great, let's efficient everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Mm-hmm.
optimize your business, your work, and your home life all at
Mm-hmm.
once.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really, I think it's beautiful to just watch and see like how the simple awareness of like, oh, these are all the different cycles. I did skip over spring, so
Mm-hmm.
winter, spring, summer.
Mm-hmm.
So that phase leading up to summer is where estrogen is kind of starting to rise.
Mm-hmm.
And estrogen is a really good hormone for connection.
Mm-hmm.
It's also a good get shit done hormone and
Mm-hmm.
like the superwoman hormone. So there's really like a 15 to 20 day period for most women where we are like peak amazing awesomeness.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really those 10 to 12 days that we need downtime, rest,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of the trash that's being built up that we've said yes to but didn't really mean it. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I said yes to this because I was excited in the moment, but it's
Mm-hmm.
actually like sucking my energy
Mm-hmm.
force, life force, and I don't want to do that thing anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, so that's kind of how I envision, like, if we take what we understand about cycle syncing and then just layer on top of it, like, how does this apply to my work?
Mm-hmm.
And I've had other women that are like, I can't do this because my boss is just not going to accept that for how many ever days I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
like not be working. And
Mm-hmm.
I say to them, like, okay, it's not that you're not working. You can still work. You're organizing your workload and
Mm-hmm.
what you do on a regular basis
Mm-hmm.
in the context of your hormones. So you're getting all of that done. You're just thinking about it as a 28-day rhythm, and you're not thinking about it as like, oh, I got to get this done for next week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you really, it like a little bit of foresight, a little bit of like preemptively thinking through what's going to
Mm-hmm.
come due and when do I need to schedule it? When's the perfect time for me to actually do this thing
Mm-hmm.
that requires my time and energy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so we're definitely on the same page, like really enforcing and encouraging the cycle tracking. As we're coming to a wrap here, like curious just for more tangible takeaways for people, is there maybe one or two other things that you would really encourage somebody to start doing now if they were looking to better support their hormone health?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yes, I would encourage people to better understand what their body is telling them.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of times, the women that I've talked to are like, "Oh, I've had that for like 10 years. It's just not, isn't that normal? That's normal for me, right?" And I'm like, "Well, for 10 years, your body's been screaming that there's some gut inflammation and you have passed it off as normal." Or
Mm-hmm.
the best is, oh, this is just part of aging. I'm like, you're
Mm-hmm.
32. This is not aging. So there's a lot of things that we pass off or like not prioritize because we don't think that they're important.
Mm-hmm.
And we potentially go to a doctor and they're like, ah, everything's fine. You're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of my office. And you are sitting there like, okay, well, what do I do about it then? What should I be doing?
Mm-hmm.
So I've created a free assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Available at madrefertility.com, and it's basically my brain and it turned into an algorithm that helps you decode what your body is saying. So
Okay.
you take this assessment, it takes about 10 to 15 minutes. You take
Mm-hmm.
it and it at the end of it, it's in the context of fertility, right? If you're
Mm-hmm.
not trying to get pregnant right now, that's okay. You can
Mm-hmm.
still do all of these things
Mm-hmm.
and prepare your body and in the meantime feel better in
Mm-hmm.
your body,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's that is designed to help you take what you're experiencing in your body as a regular thing that you might have just like ignored or passed off or didn't know what to do about and put it into the context of, oh, this is your adrenal system
Mm-hmm.
showing that it's not functioning quite well. Here's something that you can do to address it.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's what
Thank
I would
you. Yeah, we'll definitely link that for listeners, and I look forward to checking that out myself, even not from the
do.
fertility perspective, but yeah, just the feeling
Yeah,
good.
exactly,
Feel
exactly.
good.
I think that there is just so much space for women to take action sooner and
Mhm.
not feel like crap for 10 years before you
Mhm.
decide you want to have a baby.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's no like fertility is what I focused on, but
Mhm.
if you're fertile, you're also in an optimal state of health.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
getting in that optimal state of health doesn't require you to be trying to have a baby at the same time.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's actually better to do it sooner, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I'll tell you a quick story. I had for about 3 years after burnout, my every night I would be in crazy amounts of pain.
Mhm.
And I was like, what is happening? My
Mhm.
stomach just hurt like crazy.
Mm.
And I ended up doing some assessing. Like it turned out it was gut inflammation driven by food sensitivities. Took care of the food sensitivities. 3 weeks later, no symptoms. Everything's gone.
Wow. Yeah.
And I was like, damn, why did I like stick with this for 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, oh, it's gonna go away or it's gonna be better the next time or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
I could have just been like dealing with it as soon as my body showed me, and it would have been just done with
Mm-hmm.
instead of struggling in pain for 6 months.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Interesting.
even for me,
Yeah. I
I
think, yeah,
needed
sometimes it's scary to ask for the help. Sometimes it can be expensive to seek out the help, right? Like if we're looking into like functional medicine and things like that, or
it.
even testing. And then I think, yeah, for me, for a long time, it was like, well, what am I going to have to do, right? Like if somebody told me like, oh, you can't have dairy anymore, or you need to cut out sugar, it's like, am I actually going to do those things? I'd like to say yes, okay, I'll do them to feel better, but will I? It's gonna be really hard. So sometimes it's just better not to have the information and to sit in the suck. Which, yeah, it's right. It's like pick your heart at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I totally I get that perspective
Hmm.
because I have been there multiple
Hmm.
times with
Hmm.
like, oh God, I have to avoid this thing that I love,
Yeah.
really. And but on the flip side of it is like feeling better in my body,
Hmm.
and I think that the little bit of pain that we go through in making a dietary shift is worth the reward of
Hmm.
feeling more amazing
Yeah.
and more vital.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Needed to hear that. Well,
Just
yeah,
for
again, thank you so much for coming on to this. It was a great conversation. And yeah, if people are wanting to get in touch with you, any website or social medias that you'd like to share with people.
yeah, absolutely. The best places to find me is probably Instagram at
Mhm.
Holistic Fertility Doctor.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll link that and then we'll make sure to link that questionnaire thing that you mentioned as well in that website. So thank you. Yeah, again, it was just a really great conversation. I'm happy you came on to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was fun.